if I traded it all, if I gave
So welcome back, everyone. We are live on Facebook now. We're doing this. It's a new thing. Like us on Facebook out there, everybody that's listening in. This is going to be very interesting, and I think not only just for our parents who might have children with ADD, ADHD, if you call it ADD, also for adults, because adults have it too. My next guest is Dr. Sanford J. Silverman. He's a licensed psychologist and owner of Center for Attention Deficit and Learning Disorders. Welcome to the show. Please tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do. You're an expert at it. Go ahead.
Sure. I specialize with attention deficit disorders, and when I say ADD, I'm also including ADHD or hyperactivity component, as well as the inattentive component. And I help people from throughout the lifespan, from age 3 and up through later adulthood, help identify, work with them, see if they have ADD and related problems. Because when we have ADD, we could have other issues as well, from mood issues, lack of performance. And I help them identify the problem, work with them in very unique ways.
Okay, I want to talk about those unique ways. Okay, with children, I think parents now, today, might know a little bit what might be, they might see, might say, well, my kid's acting up or whatever it is. Give them some pointers on the what they might find as a symptom that they might see that would cause them to say, maybe my kid is attention deficit disorder.
Sure. They're having problem with homework. They're fighting. They need a lot of structure. They need a parent to sit with them to complete the homework. They might do the homework and forget to turn it in or lose it.
I did that all the time. So tell me, I mean, there has to be another level than that, too, where you go, this kid's really...
Sure. We're talking about not performing as well as you could, getting easily distracted, trouble following directions, not really getting the grades that are commensurate with one's intelligence.
You know, and I said that I was being funny, but the fact is that all of us have a little bit, we're all a little bit attention deficit, as by, you know what I'm saying, but it's true that it comes a point where it's too much, where, you know, we all know that we forgot to, you know, once in a while turn in our homework, but there's to a point where it's happening almost every time where you say, wait a minute, there's something wrong here, correct?
Right. We're looking at something that's chronic and pervasive, started at an early age. In fact, interestingly enough, when we do a thorough history, we see it in the family because it is a genetic, neurochemical, biological issue.
Wow.
So we do see it, and we can take different forms. So we could have a parent who's very laid back, a child who's hyperactive, but you will see these patterns when you look at it carefully. So it is an issue that has been there a while. It can surface at different times. For example, sometimes we see it early on in school, in kindergarten, the first grade. Sometimes we don't see it surface until junior high when we have to switch classes. I've worked with some medical students that all of a sudden they were having problems focusing because the demand was just too much. So you can see it at different points in history, but it truly is a very real phenomenon.
Okay, now adults, okay? Because when we were younger, like my age, I'm not going to say anything. Us baby boomers, let's put it that way, we didn't have that. When we just got in trouble. You know, you were just in trouble all the time. Right. But really, there might have been something wrong. As an adult that has gone all their lives, they might know that maybe they know something's wrong. I don't know how do they know whether they have it or not?
Many don't. They just think that whatever's not working well for them is everybody else's fault. So they don't take responsibility.
All think that?
Yes, but more so with adult ADD. They're very skeptical. They blame others. They are not performing up to potential, or they can't hold a job, or they'll switch careers, things like that.
Now, your office is located in Scottsdale. You're off the 92nd Street and Shea. The website, you want to check it out. All of this information, I'm sure, is on that.
It is.
Okay. And so it's Center for ADD-AZ.com. You don't normally do this, but you're going to offer for our listeners that a free consultation. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to open up the lines to the audience and find out, you know, by this consultation that you're going to offer them, that maybe you can answer some questions that might let them know whether or not they might have it, or their daughter or
Sure.
son or whatever. And maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone you know. That's what I love about networking, and that's what this show is all about. Because you might be listening to this, even you guys out there that are listening, if you know somebody, if it's not you, but maybe it is you. So call in and get this. It's just a free consultation. Our number here at 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You could check them out again on their website, which is Center for, and it's FOR, ADD-AZ.com. You can also call their office. Write the number down. It is 480-314-4299. Now, you said something quickly as you were talking, but I picked up on it, and I do want to talk a little bit about it. You said that you do things a little differently. What do you do that's different?
I do a lot of natural approaches. I've been working with ADD for, I guess, past 25, 26 years intensely. Before that, I was a school psychologist. But what I do is, in the past, I help many people get on medication. And it doesn't happen much now because I'm training their brain through programs such as brain mapping, neurofeedback, where the person is taking control. Their internal locus control can come into effect. And we're teaching their brain how to actually start working fine now.
So give them an example of one of the brain, I guess it's a game that you might play, or how do you do that?
It's training. It's EEG training. We're training our brain. We're getting direct feedback in real time what our brain is doing. What we do is we measure the activity through what's called a quantitative EEG, also known as a brain map. And we can statistically compare reliably to your age what areas of your cortex are really not firing as they should. So we often see with ADD that frontal lobe, which is so crucial in impulse control, focusing, sustained attention, short-term memory, ability to shift cognitively and emotionally so we don't get stuck, don't obsess over things. We see it dysfunctional. It might be going too slow, for example. And I don't mean intellectually, but our brain fires just like a muscle at all different speeds. And when it's not kicking into gear with how we should be experiencing an event or performing well in an activity, we're going to have issues.
So this can be done with children as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, yes. So it's for anyone from children, kids to adults is who he works with. And again, we've got our lines open here for people to get this free consultation from him. And it's a great time that you're coming on. School has just started, and so a lot of our parents are getting a little bit, they get a little frustrated with the kids. And usually it's could be something like this that might be the reason why they're having difficulties. I love my show for that you can kind of educate them a little bit about what it is that you do, and to help these kids. Believe me, they want to do well. They want to be accepted.
And that's kind of why I went into this field, because when you're not performing up to potential, it could cause self-esteem issues, and it's almost universal with ADD. We don't feel good about ourselves. We would like to do well, but something's not working right. Something's not connecting.
And that includes adults.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm not performing as well. My relationships, I'm getting into arguments, I'm impatient, or I don't know why I'm not doing well.
So the number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. You can call in here, get a free consultation. You can check them out on their website. It is Center for, it's FOR, ADD-AZ.com. You can also call them direct. Their number is 480-314-4299. Now, before we go to a break, okay, I want to ask you one more question before we do that. So it could be a long answer, but you got to keep it short and sweet. Okay? So, how can you effectively treat then ADD or ADHD? Then was that without medication? Can you seriously do that with just what you mentioned earlier?
Absolutely. Majority of people get a whole lot better and do not require medication and don't have to worry about side effects.
So a lot of us parents don't want our kids on medication, and a lot of us adults don't want to be on medication. So let's say somebody out there is already taking medication for it, maybe even working with somebody else. Would you do a second opinion and say, listen, why don't you try this? You might be able to get off your meds?
I would meet with them and do a consultation and learn, what's working for them, what's not, what do they want. I have people all the time that are on medication that don't want to rely on it, and we help them wean off of it, or even taking medication. It's not a panacea. It doesn't mean you're going to do great anyway.
So this is a natural approach to this. That's what makes him different. And again, we've got our lines open here for people to get that free consultation. Our number here, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Check it out. It's Center for FORADD-AZ.com.
Traded it all if I gave it.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Dr. Sanford J. Silverman, and he is a licensed psychologist and owner of Center for Attention Deficit and Learning Disorders. We're live on Facebook. This is a serious conversation because you know what? It's a serious problem, and it's a problem that does not just stick with children. We think it does, but it's also with those adults out there, too. You said that you work with children, kids to adults. We're offering for everyone to get a free consultation, so we're going to open up the lines here for you to call in. And our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll-free, it's 1-866-536-1100. He has a natural approach to all of this. That's what makes him different, and I like that. I personally would want to go more natural route. I don't want to be on meds if I can help it. The website is Center for FORADD-AZ.com, and you can even call their direct. That number is 480-314-4299, and they're located in Scottsdale. Okay. One of the things, too, that you mentioned, and I do want to just say that this is not all you do, but today this is what we're talking about, because you work with all other areas that we can go into show upon, but right now, this is the area that you wanted to talk about today.
Sure.
Okay, so how do you differentiate, I've said it wrong again, the disorders like from ADD to anxiety and all the other things that are out there? How do you do that?
Well, it's not always so simple. We have to be real careful because often with ADD, we do have anxiety. Very often there's obsessive compulsive kinds of traits or dysthymia, a mild form of depression. So we really have to kind of tease it apart and say how much is what, and also how are they synergistically, how are they affecting each other and fueling the other kind of issue. So we have to do a careful history. We have to look at patterns. Does this fit more like an anxious person or depressed or an ADD? Are they having some anxiety, depression related to performance issues in ADD and self-esteem? We can give some computer tests called CPTs, continuous performance tests. And when we do it in a one-on-one situation and we minimize the distractions, and if that person can't stay on this boring, tedious task and really focus and keep their reaction time consistent, then we know, we're looking at ADD issues. So we have to look at all that. A brain map helps us also give us information about what that brain is doing and what centers of the brain are affected. So we have to put all that together, plus rating scales.
Now, again, we want to emphasize that it isn't just for children. I mean, it is adults.
Very interesting working with adults because
they're stuck in their ways. They've already had a long time to be the way they are.
Correct, but whenever we have problems that are upsetting us or interfering with our functioning, we're stuck in them. Correct, but we can learn to shift out of that. Therapy takes a while when we talk to people, and it goes on, and it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on or peeling an onion. And because we're neurologically kind of built from our experience on nature and that whole nurture issue, but when we do brain training, we can actually much quicker and more effectively get ourselves unstuck.
Well, okay. So what does it look like when someone comes in and they do their consultation with you, right?
Yes.
What is the next step that generally happens? What do they see? And if you do these brain training that you do, how fast because everybody wants to be better. They all want to be better faster. That's why they take the meds, because that obviously will mask that symptom right away, right? So basically, what's the turnaround on this?
I train people usually a few times a week, and then most of the time within a few sessions they're starting to get results and feeling optimistic about that. So, it's like you're learning a new instrument. You're going to the gym for your brain, and when you keep on it, you get results faster.
And are they hard things for people to do?
No, they're actually engaging. You sit in front of a computer, and you can make a movie play without just by focusing. So I key into their brain activity. We put a sensor on. It's completely harmless. It's non-invasive. It sends nothing in, but it gives the brain feedback in very subtle ways how to shift and move in a good direction. So they might see in front of them 3 rocket ships, and when they focus, they're going to drive the rocket ship to beat the other ones and go to planets. If they get distracted, the left ones are going to come up. If they start to get anxious, impulsive, tighten up physically, mentally, the right ones are going to come up. So they're, with my coaching, learning to actually run their nervous system. Now, this is not something one needs to practice, but based on the concept of neuroplasticity, we're forming new neural networks, connections in the brain, neurons, and then over time it becomes conditioned, just like we learn anything.
Now, okay, when we think of psychologists, we normally think of them that we're going to them to talk to them about problems that they have.
Right.
Does ADD start off with something that comes from deep down, or?
Not necessarily. And I tell that to people because, true ADD is a biological issue. So you can go for therapy for ADD. The problem is if you're not internalizing and your brain isn't able to take that information in and change, then you're just going to go on and not get where you need to go. Okay, so if there aren't any issues of abuse or those aren't really the issues that we're dealing with, then talking therapy is going to have minimal effect. Now, that being said, we do have to deal with children with their families too, or spouses perhaps in a relationship with adults, because those things are impacting on how we function as well. But if we're rewiring the brain and we're getting it to function better, we're getting it unstuck, then that's not related to necessarily psychological factors that have caused the ADD per se.
So for your patients, when you're working with them and they start to get unstuck, if we're going to call it that. Okay, I don't know what we
mental
should call
flexibility and just be able to
I would love to have
better.
mental flexibility. I mean, seriously, I've made that fun. But when they start to get that and they start to see that they are getting results.
Yes.
What is the feedback that you've gotten from your clients?
Performing better, grades are going better, easy relationship with parents and children or between spouses. Things are just better. They don't have to, ask the child several times to do something. They don't have to sit on top of them to get homework done, things like that. And the person's happier. They're making more friends.
And when you said something, and I want to make sure I'm right on it because I want to narrow in on it. When you're working, let's say, with someone that has a family, does it become, because it could affect the whole family
Absolutely.
when somebody is that way.
Right.
Does it affect, do you also then end up working with sort of the family a little bit too?
I do.
Okay.
I do. And with behavioral strategies or do some counseling, some therapy with them, because many families come in a lot of distress that the child, they say that my kid's breaking
Something's
up our
wrong
family.
with them.
Yeah,
Right,
we
okay.
can't handle it anymore. We're fighting on ways to discipline them. And it's just affecting the whole family, and it's affecting their siblings. So, yes, you do have to involve the family.
So, okay, this office is located in Scottsdale, and it's at right off 92nd Street and Shea. He is offering for our listeners, again, also you people on Facebook that are listening, but also anyone that would like to call in and get a free consultation. He'd like to talk to you, whether it's for your kid. Grandparents that are listening, some of them are taking care of those grandchildren too. You all know, when someone's got a little something going on that may not seem right.
I get calls from grandparents
all the
quite a
time.
bit,
You got to
yes.
go right into that, Mike. Tell
I
them.
get calls from grandparents all the time.
I bet you do, because now today more and more are parenting, right?
Right.
So also the people who are adults. I mean, he does also help adults, and you also know when there's something that's not right with yourself. And so you can call. You're going to get a free consultation and find out how maybe we can change that part of your life around.
Yes.
Could turn things around. So again, you can check it out on the website. It's Center for FORADD-AZ.com. You can also call them direct. The number is 480-314-4299, or call in here and get yourself into a free consultation from us by calling. It's a natural approach, which I really like. Our number here, 602-277-5369, and toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. So we're ending the segment soon. What would you want to tell them out there that you would want to get out, that you wanted maybe have missed to say, that you would like to kind of tell? What would be your final words for today?
Well, if you have a child that you feel is not doing well, that could be emotionally, socially, academically, or in the relationship, give me a call because things can change. And if you're not sure, there often is something going on there.
And I'm going to ask you this too, because it just came in my mind, because everybody thinks that they can go online and do something online. I have to ask that to you because it just came to me. Because they'll say, "Oh, well, I can go online and get a brain training thing."
It's
and do
not.
it
It's not the
totally
same thing at all. And,
Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, you can do puzzles. You could do different programs. It's not the same as actually picking up your brain activity with a professional and coaching them and getting feedback externally, parameters to say, "Let me go change that. I see when my brain's focusing," because you're literally changing the way your brain is firing at that point.
And when you do a testing on them, I'm saying when you put it.
We're looking at direct areas.
You're going to see it that they cannot see that.
Yes, and right, and I'm looking at through a brain map. We're finding areas there that just really are not connecting as they can. You're not doing that by doing something online.
So don't try and do it online. Is my point. Again, you could check them out. It is Center for FORADD-AZ.com. You can call them direct. Their phone number is 480-314-4299. I'm going to leave the lines open here for everybody throughout the rest of the show to call in and get these things. He's offering for everyone that's listening a free consultation. This is a natural approach, guys. Our number here, 602-277-5369.